I guess going to Cincinnati, what's the mindset? How do you hope to bounce back after that TCU game?
Just excited for another opportunity. You get to compete against a top 25 team at their house up there in the north, so it'll be fun. It'll be cool. I think everybody's excited about that. Of course, we hate that we lost, but the good thing about it is the season isn't over, and the only thing we're guaranteed is another chance to get better. So that's how we're looking at it this week.
What are fixable things on defense, I guess?
Communication, taking better angles, fixing missed tackles, fixing our MAs and coverage. I think there are times where you watch the game and you see the potential to be elite. Like it's there. We just have to be able to do that consistently. And so the more consistent we are, the better defense will become.
Has this season at all been frustrating for you? Having Phoenix and Travion go down, maybe you're forced into maybe some different roles or play all around. Has that been frustrating at all? How have you adapted?
I wouldn't say it's frustrating. I hate that my guys went down. Like you don't foresee that in summer or spring, especially when you're getting close to guys. So it's just nothing but praying for them. But like it's adversity. Adversity hits everybody. So you just have to continue to work with what you're given. And sometimes you have to study a little more here, get a little extra work more here after practice, and that's just a part of the game.
Dave was talking yesterday about how it's maybe been a little more volatile, or maybe fiery is a better word, so far this week. What can you kind of speak to that and how the team leaders are kind of trying to get guys in the right places?
Yeah, I love that. I love that fire. I love that passion. That's what football is about. Even if you're not playing, if you're at home watching the TV, you see, dads get amped up, jumping off the couch, spilling the popcorn, and that's what it is. That's what it should be. And I'm glad that we're getting to that this week, and it just makes it so much fun and makes preparation easier.
How are you seeing younger guys respond to that?
I'm seeing young guys take it well. At first, a lot of them were the guy from their hometown or their high school, so they're used to not being told when they were wrong. And so now you're finally seeing guys come to and realize that you guys are trying to help me and not hurt me.
You've always been kind of a voice on this team. Have you used that voice more over the last 4 games or so?
Yeah, I've definitely learned. It's one of the things that I needed to work on, was just learning how to use my voice and use certain words. You can't talk to everybody the same. Everybody comes from different places. I know where I'm from, it's always, when you yell, I'm locked in. And for other guys, you kind of have to pull them to the side and talk to them and let them know that, hey, I'm here for you, but I have to get on you so we can be better as a team.
Dave talked about Cincinnati's offense. Good basically in every room, wide receiver. What do you see from Cincinnati?
Yeah, elite running backs, a really good quarterback, receivers are good, O-line plays really good as a team. So excited. I love playing against really good teams because it's like the bright lights. That's what you live for. And so, we just got to step up to the mantle and take the trophy.
Is this team unique? It seems like whether it's SMU, Kansas State, even the fourth quarter against TCU, you always have fight. Mm-hmm. What is unique about this team that never gives up?
Yeah, I think this is our first time playing a team where they're like really good all around. Like there's no fish or whatever they call it for the O-line, but like it's just a really solid team. They play really well together, and that's made them elite this far this season. So we're ready to attack that.
Kole, I guess just talk about the ability to bounce back. You guys have done this before, but the ability to bounce back from a loss like that.
It's always tough, but at the end of the day, it's not the end of the season. That was just one game, and that was just something to put a chip back on our shoulder. So we just have to correct it and get to Cincinnati.
Cincinnati is ranked. It's homecoming for them. It's certainly going to be probably a little bit electric atmosphere there. Like, what do you expect going into a place like that against a team like that?
I feel like it's always more about us than them. But at the end of the day, the atmosphere should be good, homecoming. And I feel a little disrespect that they picked us for homecoming. So, if anything, that should give us a little more energy and a little more edge going in there.
So, clearly that's something you embrace, having that chip on your shoulder.
Of course.
Did that end of the fourth quarter, did that kind of show what you guys are capable of? And is it maybe a little frustrating that it didn't happen till then?
Yeah, it always is a little frustrating because we always preach, playing complementary football. So that's on all three phases of the game, having each other's back. And it seems like we weren't doing that, and it all kind of came together at the end. We just wish we done that all game.
Sawyer said y'all haven't had a game like that, a full game like that, where all three phases complement each other. You feel like that's coming, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I feel like it is coming. everybody always makes mistakes. Like, nobody's perfect, but that's what we strive towards. And I feel like we're getting real close. Like, you see glimpses of it at the end of the game. Defense gets a stop, we score, we get the onside kick. Like, that's all three phases of the game. That's proof that we can do it right there. We just have to put it all together.
Can you put into words what keeps y'all fighting and believing even in situations like that?
Just the work that we put in. Nobody but us, offense, defense, special teams, and our coaches come in here and grind throughout the summer, grind throughout, fall camp. Nobody knows the work that we put in. And, just our brothers on the sideline with us. I'm not going to give up on the defense. The defense is not going to give up on us. And that's what really keeps us going.
I mean, you've been UIW and Texas State. Where does this team rank in terms of that closeness? And Dave Randall likes to use the word care factor a lot. Where does this team rank in terms of that?
Yeah, it's all the way up there. I mean, like, even when it comes to doing stuff outside of football, whether that's on Thursdays going to the movies or just different things like that, hanging out with each other, talking mess in the locker room, like, it all just brings us closer and closer every day.
You and Ashton seem pretty close, obviously. Was that good to see him have that kind of game that he had Saturday where he really put up a lot of numbers?
Yeah, I love to see that because I know what Ashton can do. Ashton knows what he can do. I mean, the whole team does. And, we have so many weapons that, one game he may not get the touches that he wants, but someone else will. But just seeing Ashton be able to showcase the things that he can do and see the energy that he brings to the team, because whenever he makes a play, he's fired up and we're all fired up for him. So it just really excites me when I see stuff like that.
That touchdown Sawyer threw to you in the fourth quarter was a pretty epic pass. Does anything like stuff like that, does that surprise you when he does stuff like that? It's just out of this world?
Not at all, honestly, because we get reps all throughout the summer, throughout the fall. We come to the indoor and throw when there's nobody here. So that was just like another pass, honestly. And we got put in the right situation, and he put the ball in the perfect spot where I could get it. So
forget if we've asked you, like, when you first got here, what was your first, like, interaction with Sawyer? What were your first kind of takeaways from meeting and kind of being around him?
Really, he's a great guy. He's just a workhorse. Like, he's ready to work at all times. He knows how to balance, like, having fun with also being able to get your work done. So that's what I really like about him.
Well, Coach, how are you? What's the conversations like? How do you want to bounce back after that TCU game?
So I will say this, okay? So I'm going to name drop a little bit, okay? And so for me, when I talk, I'm always honest. So I'm probably not the guy to put up here all the time. So I played for guys like Urban, Mike Tomlin, Charlie Strong, Dan Mullen, Greg Madison, Billy Gonzalez. I could go on and on, Dick LeBeau. And so what I learned from them is the same way you coach when you win is the same way you coach when you lose. So you don't have to change how you coach. So for me, when we win, okay, I coach this way. When we lose, I coach this way. And so what I look at is the details from the game, whether we win or lose. Okay, and so what I could say from the receiver room, I'm telling the guys we have to be more player-led. For example, last year we had a guy like Hal Presley. Hal was a great leader. Not saying that we don't have great leaders in the room, but we have a lot of guys who do a great job of focusing on their job and not focusing on what everyone else do. And it can't be that way. Not disrespecting anyone's sport, but this isn't tennis, this isn't bowling, this is a team sport. So, especially when you have an older room, I have to make sure I do my job, but I got to make sure the man next to me is being held accountable. And so, in my room, I also think we need to start freestyling on route so much, okay? If you're supposed to be at 12 yards, get to 12 yards. Don't say, oh, I'm going to take it deep to give us a spark. That's not what I coach you to do. But, again, Coach Meyer, Coach G would tell me, either you coaching it or you allowing it. Either way it goes, you in the wrong. So what I have to tell them, that's my fault, but we're going to do punishment for it. So you understand that's not how we do it, okay? I would say the last piece is just always making it feel like 4th and 1. I make it intense so it doesn't matter who comes to the game, because it's the same way for me. Like playing at Florida, we 1-5, the stadium is full. We 5-1, the stadium is full. It didn't matter because why? Practice was hard. So for these guys, I make practice hard so the game is easy. And so I haven't changed up at all. Because I will also say this, I hope coaches and leaders and everyone listening to this, if you change how you coach according to wins and losses, players start calling you fake. So,
Coach Random mentioned 4th and 1 too.
mm-hmm.
Talk about that mindset. Is that new? Is that this week? Has it been that way all year? You
I
think
say
it's
for
4th and 1 now?
I say for the most part it's been that way.
Yeah.
But again, I'm the head coach of my own room. So I speak in my room. It's like that all the time. You ask the parents of my coaches, I tell them all the time, I owe it to them to make sure their young men become men, but more importantly, men of God. So you go into class. If you don't go to class, there are consequences. One of the consequences is I'm going to let your parents know. Bake, I'm 18. I'm probably not supposed to say that because they said you're not supposed to tell the parents what the player's doing academically because they're 18. I don't care. So I tell their parents, hey, this is his grades. Some parents happy, some parents upset, right? Then when it come to practicing, hey, I got on him today because of that great job, Coach Bate. So in my room, it's always 4th and 1. So again, that way you have a standard. Like that's part of being a goon. Because I feel like receivers are prima donnas. So I don't call them goons. Because we're like offensive linemen that get to score touchdowns and we get to dance and we get to wear a nice drip.
That's
So
where Goons comes from?
well, goons is someone that's fundamentally sound, okay? It's also someone who is selfless, you know? They'll block for someone that don't care how many passes you catch, you know, that will be playmakers with or without the ball in their hand, you know? And then someone that's tough. And then here's what we talk about tough. Tough isn't fighting at practice. We're not boxers, we're football players. Tough is what I'm doing is way more important than how I feel, you know? I love my parents. I have 2 sets of parents, and we grew up rough. So, not saying that my parents didn't handle their business, but sometimes you're in school and you're worried. Man, are the lights turned off at home? And so, instead of going in the shell, my coping mechanism was to play hard at practice, because I knew, hey, I could get my education, I could help my family out. Okay, I could also play hard in football, and I could get a scholarship and maybe go to the NFL. So again, I was born in the 4th and 1. And so having guys like Coach Meyer and stuff like that when I played for her, it just helped out. And so sorry to be long with this, but yeah, it goes back to what I said. Like, I don't change according to wins or losses. And I don't think this program does either. Like, our record doesn't show how hard these guys work. You know, we make mistakes and we making mistakes at the wrong moment of the game. You know, it's raining and we may get a fumble, quarterback running back exchange, you know, and people from the outside or people even in the building don't understand. They could say, oh, that's because they didn't practice hard or as it wasn't 4th and 1. No, we weren't on our detail. These dudes practice hard. Like, I would say this, the last 2 years since I've been here, the work they put in after practice, I've never seen that in the first 2 years, if you want me to be honest. And I probably shouldn't say that, but last year and this year, you hear the claps back there. These dudes working, these guys outside working. You know, we just have to be more in our detail.
Jaden Porter obviously got in the end zone against TCU. How good is it to see maybe some of his hard work pay off and with the touchdown there?
Okay, so here's the cool part about that. So this is the first game that he's graded at 90%, and he scored a touchdown. So of course, Coach Bate, being Coach Bate, I coach everybody hard, but I love even harder. And the reason being because of how hard I coach, right? But I use it as an opportunity to tell him, see why I coach you so hard? And the fact that it worked out helps even better, because now you're like, yeah, Coach Bate, I see that. And so now, today when I'm coaching him hard, right, he doesn't even blink an eye. Like, shoot, I want it now because you coached me hard and I scored a touchdown. And so for me, it was happy that, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy he scored a touchdown because now he's able to see why I'm really, really getting on him.
I apologize if you've been asked this already, but is this
Yes.
the best group of receivers you've ever, since the time you were playing, the best group that you've ever been around?
Yes, it is. And I even put that online. But I have to give credit where credit is due. It started with those guys last year. Your Hal Presleys, your Ketron Jacksons, your Monterey Baldwins, your Jamal Bells, you know. It started with those guys who aren't here. And, you know, Josh is left over. Ashton is left over. You know, Jackson and Seth and Danny and Jaden, all those guys are left over. But this started last year with those 24 guys, you know. After being with those guys from 2022 and then 2023, and then, you know, those guys like constantly picking my brains. Well, Coach Bate, you won a national championship. You won a Super Bowl. You lost in the state championships in high school. You played for this coach. You talked to this coach because he's your mentor. Like, tell us. And one of the big things that I told those guys last year because of the 23 season was, if you live for their praises, you'll die from their criticism. It's probably going to be too deep. But I was 21 years old. We played Tennessee. Coach Fedora, Coach Zook tell me it's not my fault, but I did something that I was coached not to do. Get what I'm saying? It's not that they're not being coached. It's like, you just got to be on your detail. And we lost to Tennessee. And the way the Gator fans treated me, and I love UF. Everybody say I post about them, like I bleed orange and blue. It's like I bleed green and gold. But at 21 years old, it had me wanting to commit suicide because I felt like I let Gator Nation down. I felt like I let my family down. Like I would read things on Facebook. They would actually put it in the paper back then. You know, now you got to be careful what you do because the cancer coach. They would put it in the paper about how I lost the game, everything, and I'm 21. And so I sat in my room for a week. Hold on. It was 8 days, so a little over a week, because we played Kentucky, and the first play of the game, guess what happened? I get another penalty for a holding call, which I feel like the ref was picking on me. But we win, we beat Kentucky, but I just feel like the whole world hates me. And so what I've taught myself is I will post on Instagram, I'll post on Twitter, and I apologize to all our fans. The reason why I don't respond because I will post and I'll just go tunnel vision. And it's because that helped me. So what I thought was a curse was actually a blessing. So I taught these guys, if you live for their praises, you'll die for them criticism, you know? Because the fans are going to do what they're supposed to. They're supposed to hold us to a standard. And we can't judge them for that. We have to do our job. They have to do their job in being fans. They have to fill the stadium. You know, they have to support us when we're doing bad sometimes. They have to get on us when we're doing bad sometimes, you know? And so that was one thing that I taught those guys. Another thing I taught those guys, like, you guys are saying the goon name. We started this in 2005. And there's guys like Percy Harvin, Riley Cooper, Lewis Murphy, Andre Caldwell, Kenneth Toots. Like, guys, well, this goon thing really, really means something. Like, it's not just something to say. It means we're going to be different from every other receiver corps in the country. We're going to block. We're going to be the standard. And so last year was when they really was like, okay, Coach Bate, like, we bought into this goon thing. And so this year, it's a little bit easier because we got an older room. But for all the coaches, here's why you have to be careful when you have an older room. Sometimes it's not that they think they know more than a coach, but you have to keep a tight grip on them because why? They feel like they're well experienced. I get it, Coach Bate, you taught me this, but I'm going to try this. No. Get what I'm saying? And so I would agree this is probably the best room I've ever been around. Unfortunately, our record doesn't show that because I don't look at, like, the receiver stats. No. If we threw the ball 3 times this year and we undefeated, I'm happy. So I never look at our stats.
Tell me about receiver Micah Gifford. What was he like as a receiver? And obviously I know you two had a relationship before he got here and then went to safety. What was he like as a receiver?
A goon. The only thing Micah needed to work on was hand placement and eyes when he was catching. You know, like I hear people all the time, and I'm not trying to judge anyone. They scream and yell, catch the ball. That used to happen to me. I'm not going to say when. But then again, I have to give credit where credit due. Coach G and Coach Meyer taught me it's not just catch the ball. It's hand placement. It's my hands improper. That I put my eyes on the ball. And so that was some of the things that Micah needed to work on. I told everyone by the time Micah is a junior, I don't care if we're on defense or offense, Micah was going to be a playmaker. You know, and so what we're seeing is just Micah doing what he's doing. Can I help also about leadership because I hit on that. So this is something that I was taught when I was a leader, a part of a national championship team. Okay. And so right now these guys are trying to figure out how to be leaders. Because when you bring in transfer portal guys, you got to hit your culture every year now. That's what people don't understand. Like, get this transfer, get that. Cool. Here's the deal. It's called 10-80-10, okay? Because I was taught to be a leader, and my first year being a leader, y'all know my personality, right? I thought being a leader was trying to fight everybody. Even O-line, D-line. If I lose, I'm going to lose. But then what I was taught, from us doing our leadership things is the 10-80-10, and it's what I tell my guys in the receiver room. You're going to have 10% on every team that's going to do exactly what they're supposed to do. That's the standard. I'm a name drop like your Josh Cameron, okay? And of course Sawyer, but I'm using him as an example. That's your 10% up there. Like going to do whatever you ask, Coach Hart, whatever. Then that 80% is the team, right? And then that bottom 10% is just going to always be there. Okay, I'm going to talk either a granddad, a booster, or something going on, and you cannot get rid of that bottom 10%. They're always going to be there. What you need to understand as a leader is your top 10% need to be the strongest so they can take that 80% and pull it up there with them. Because that 10% can always be there. Now, it's tough if some of your better players are in that bottom 10%. Because now they already have the ability to get that 80% to follow them because how good they're at sports. You know what I'm saying? You just got to make sure they don't have too big of a voice. Because if they have too big of a voice and they're really good players, that's where that 80% come down and they pull them down there. On this team, I could say that top 10%, think about who in there. That's why I'm helping everybody understand. Like your Josh Kemp, you know who they are. You see him. Kobe Prentice. Kobe is scoring that many touchdowns. Why? Because he posts about God. He practiced hard. Like God is blessing him, And so our 80% is with that 10%. It's just our detail. Like we got to hold them more to a standard. They got to trust what we're teaching them, and everything else will take care of itself.
Good stuff.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Coach.
God bless you.